So far, we have created a function to read the JSON from the file and converted it into a data. In this episode, let's convert this data into a Swift model. To do that, let's create a function. Inside this function, first let's read the file. Let's type try because it might throw an error. The file name is movie list. As it is an async function, we have to use await. As read local JSON file function might throw an error, let's use throws, and also we have to use async because read local JSON is async as well. So async can call an async function, otherwise it might throw an error. But you can completely ignore async await. It's completely just fine. I'm using it to show the recruiter that I have knowledge about the new API, and this might give an advantage over other candidates. Now this JSON data might return an optional value. As you can see, we're returning optional data. So let's just safely unwrap it. We got the data. Now we have to convert this data into a Swift model. To do that, let's use a try catch block. JSON decoder dot decode, and our model is main model. From data. In the catch, we can just print the error. So far so good. We can simply just use it. But in real life scenario, we get the data from some kind of network call and populate the UI accordingly. And it's not the job of a view model to handle the network activity. We do it in a separate file. So let's just do it. Let's create a new group and give it a name, network. Let's create a new file and give it a name, fetch movie. This file is responsible for fetching movie from network, or in our case local data. So let's give it a name, fetch movie. Now we will create a class which will convert our data into a Swift model, or in real life scenario it might call any API. But the view model doesn't need to know about the networking class, or the networking class doesn't need to know about the view model. But how can we link up those two? In this case, protocol actually gives us the best separation of concern. So let's just declare a protocol first. Here I will create a function which will be responsible for fetching the movie. It will load the movie from the data. and let's use combine framework. It will return any publisher. Which will contain an array of main model and this might return an error as well. As you can see, the JSON returns an array. We have to return an array as well. Now let's create a class which will conform to this protocol. And this will do the actual implementation. This will conform to the protocol and let's implement this stuff. Now we have to return any publisher. Let's implement future publisher. Future might contain main model or an error. Future publisher promises us something to return either success or fail. Now we can copy this decoding code and put it into the future publisher. So if the decoding is succeed, the promise will return us the decoded data. And if it fails, the promise will return an error. If you want, you can keep this logger for debugging. Also, this returns any publisher, so the future publisher needs to convert into any publisher. So let's do it with erase to any publisher. All of our warning is gone, so let's use it in our view model now. To use this in our view model, let's declare a variable of type movie fetch. Now let's declare a cancelable variable to terminate the subscription of the publisher, otherwise there could be a memory leak. Any cancelable, let's initialize it with parentheses. Also, we have to have an initializer because we didn't assign any value here. Here we can simply assign the class as a default value because the class conforms to the movie fetch protocol and the variable is of type movie fetch, so they match. Also, let's declare a publisher name movie list, and this will be an array of movie model. Main model actually. Main model array. Let's initialize the array. This will store the array which we will use later to update our UI. And this needs to be a publisher. Whenever there is a new change, it will be reflected on the UI. Now let's fetch the movie. Fetch movie from data. Needs to subscribe to the publisher. And this block is to check whether the subscription is complete. You can just simply check the status of the completion. And here we are expecting a main model array, so just give it a name array. This is an escape enclosure, so this might have a reference in the memory. It could lead to a strong reference cycle, so it's safer to use a weak self. Also, as the self is weak, this could lead to an optional self, so we need to safely unwrap it. Now in our movie list we can simply assign the array. Result of sync is unused, so we have to store it into a cancelable. Now all of our warning is gone, so now let's check it from our view to see if everything is working fine. First we need to create a state object. Main view model. Now when the view will appear, we need to use a task to load any asynchronous function. Inside the task we will call the load movie from view model, but as it might throw an error, let's use do catch block. Inside do, let's type try, and as it is async function, it has to be await. And in the catch we can simply just print could not load movie. Let's just print this array to see what we are getting in this array. Hit run, and we could see the array has been loaded successfully, and it could create a Swift model as well. Title Tenet. But we have a warning that publishing changes from background thread is not allowed. What it means by that, we are loading the function asynchronously, and async function does its task in the background thread, but the UI runs on the main thread. So we are calling the function from the UI, that's why it's complaining. So we need to shift the task from the background thread to the main thread. To do that, we can simply use this property wrapper main actor, and it will solve the issue. Now you can run the project and you can see the warning is gone. In the next episode, we will populate this data into the UI.